kind of why you guys are here. You want to know about the Flyers. You may have a kid that is running around the house, running at school, and you're saying, wow, we want to try to channel this, hone this in. And so you said, let's look for a team. And so my job, I'm tasked to answer that question of why the Flyers. As you heard Cecile talk about already, there's a lot of things that comes along with being with a track club, getting to be with older kids that are in high school, that are looking on to go to the next level, all the way down to brand new. The benefits, especially with the Flyers, as Coach Powell talked about earlier, is we focus on developing the athletes equally. So we don't just put everybody in the 100-meter race and that's it. No, we really work and focus on making sure that our athletes are well-rounded, that they can run the 100 all the way up to the 2-mile if they needed to. Now, I know for some kids that might scare them, like, whoa, I didn't sign up for that. But, we really want to make sure that our athletes love the sport beyond just competing in it. So years after you start running, that you can come back and be a Flyer coach and help out. So at this moment, I just want to recognize our coaches again that we have up here. And I'll just read off Coach Paul Gates. He's with our throws. Coach Maurice Edwards, as well as Coach Mary Jo, Calandra Lake. They handle sprints along with Jasmine Hamilton. And then we also have Coach Troy Hubert, who's a director with us as well. Then we have for our distance program, we have myself, as well as Coach Seth Freeman. We handle the distance, and then we have jumps, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But our jumps, we have Coach Frank Mason, who handles our horizontal, long jump, triple jump, and then we have Nancy Bettman, who handles our vertical, high jumps. So as you can see up here, we span the whole spectrum as far as events that we cover, and also we have Coach Paul Vomberg. He also handles throws as well. So in a moment, if I could have Coach Frank come up towards the front here. I know he don't want to come up. Come on up. Coach Frank, as I mentioned, he's our horizontal jumps coach. And the reason I'm bringing him up is just want to once again recognize what he's doing with our jump squad. He's doing a fantastic job with them. And I just wanted him to kind of share some things that he's been doing over his career as a coach and kind of where he's gotten a jump program too. So, Coach? I know, he hates it.
I spent a lot of time talking at the pits, so being up on the podium, it's just kind of weird for me. Let me set this down here. Good morning. I hope all you guys are glad to be here. I know we got some good edibles or food coming up in a little bit. Look forward to it. There's always something good. I kind of got started in the jumps, kind of as a matter of fact, equally as coaching too. I had a son who, my oldest son, he was in the 400 and long jump. I didn't know anything about jumps back then, but I always enjoyed watching him jump. And as he progressed, I would give him little tips that seemed to help. Didn't know much about it, but seemed to help. He got pretty good, jumped to 22:10 his senior year, and did pretty good on his relay teams with the 400 as well. Well, my youngest son, who was watching him, he decided he wanted to do jumps as well, and he wound up being really good. It was so good he qualified for regionals. He was a bronze medalist at Junior Olympics, and I think he was a silver medalist too. Yeah. So we really got into it then. He was in the triple jump, and if you guys know anything about the events, triple jump and pole vault are probably the two most challenging technically. So it took a lot of time, a lot of resources, and a lot of visiting. I was wound up watching him at first and working with Coach Alan Sims, who isn't here. But worked with him so long, one day Alan said, hey man, it's up to you now. And I was like, what are you talking about, up to me? I'm handing over the reins to you. I was like, oh Lord, what am I gonna do? But I'm a nerd by habit, which means if I'm gonna get into something, I dive deep. So I started studying Coach Powell and the Flyers. They sponsored me for my level 1 coaching, and enjoyed the class a lot, learned a lot. And progression came along. You'll hear in a little bit how some of the kids did just from me working harder and learning more about the event. We had kids that made it to regionals, kids that made it to nationals, kids that qualified to nationals, kids that placed in nationals and won nationals. We have one of my kids here, somewhere around here. She's a multiple national champion. You'll hear about her later. I'm not gonna go into it now. But regardless, it got really successful, and so much so that I went for my level 2, which is a higher level of education for coaching in horizontal jumps. You can go into all the specifics. And so, of course, I chose horizontal jumps. In the end, it's been a lot of fun. I've been looking for level 3 classes. Like I said, I'm a nerd. Because I want to see where it goes next. And you grow to love it. I'll never forget, I didn't even realize I was a coach until one day one kid walks up to me and said, hey, coach. And my son looked at him, he's like, coach, that's my dad. But, and that's how it goes. You grow to love the sport, you grow to love the events. Just in the last year, me and Coach Jasmine, we're standing up, and Allison Felix is right in front of us, and Shikari is playing with her kids in front of us, and Chris Coleman is coming from the tent eating cookies, and we're just like, how in the heck did we wind up here? But it's just from the effort, working with the kids, being in the pits, being on the track, encouraging the kids, teaching the kids technique. All my kids are coaches. From the littlest on up, they can tell you what they do, why they do it. Everything we do is on purpose. I would teach my kids to be leaders. So if your kid comes up to me and they're a jumper, they're gonna wanna be a leader. It's just the way it is. All my kids are academic All-Americans, and they're all honor students. All of my seniors right now have scholarships. And a lot of the juniors are getting a lot of calls from coaches across the country. So we've been really successful. I've been really thankful to the Northwest Flyers and Coach Powell, and to all the kids too. And that's about it for me. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. So once again, as you can hear from Coach Frank, we have head coaches who are passionate, but also beyond that passion, they have the education. So all of our head coaches here at the Northwest Flyers are at least at a level 1 certification, USATF. So what does that mean? They have as much knowledge as any high school coach as far as resources and understanding the sport. Okay? Now, I say that we're not trying to replace the high school programs. We're a supplement to the high school, middle school programs, but just want to let you guys understand the caliber of coaches that we have that can help develop your athlete and get them to that next level. So next here, we'll talk about the practice schedule. So practice will start on February 27th at 6 p.m. That's a Monday. All of our practices early on in the month of February, March will be Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Mondays and Thursdays will be at Side Creek High School. It'll start at 6 p.m. Saturday will be at Spring Creek Park. and those practices will start at 9 a.m. For the month of March, we'll start that at Side Creek Park. There is more around conditioning. We will be doing a lot of running. It doesn't matter if you're sprints or distance, throws. Everyone comes because conditioning is a part of whatever you do. Believe it or not, throwers need to be conditioned as well. It's not just standing there and throwing. So everyone, we encourage you to come out to those events. As far as once we get deeper into the season and more of our technical part of it, that's when we start to sprinkle in our Tuesdays and Wednesday practices. So as you just heard from Coach Frank with the jumps, Coach Nancy with high jumps, and we start to get into the relays and all those different things. We'll be doing it on those days. We even have a breakout special session for our distance crew on that Tuesday. So we really try to make sure that we are focusing in on developing the athletes throughout the year. We do also, at the beginning of our season, do a fitness test to help our athletes kind of understand where they are, but also help our coaches to realize what potential events they can run in. So here we have our schedule for this year. As you can see, we have about 6 practice events or practice meets that we go to starting April 22nd all the way down to June 3rd and 4th. The flagship track meet of that season, that's right, is the Northwest Flyers meet on May 27th. And the reason I say it's a flagship because for the parents that have already been through it and the new parents you'll see, we had the best running event track meet in the area. As far as the number of athletes that actually sign up, last year we had over 1,500 athletes sign up and compete from youth all the way up to high school, and we finished on time. So our morning, in the way that meets happen, the morning we have our 12 and under, which some meets have gone until 1:30, 2 o'clock. We were done by 12:30. Afternoon, typically we'll start around 1:30, and we were done by 7 o'clock. Other teams do not have that success that we have, and the reason why is because of our parents volunteering and helping out in that event. So that's, yes. So we definitely need everyone helping out. We'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly as far as how you can be involved, but that is our flagship event. And like I said, we get recognized across the country for this event. We have it at Prairie View University. If anyone has been there, it's a beautiful track. It's a track and field only field. Most tracks you go to is a football field with a track around it. This is actually a track field, meaning everything, all the designs are all focused around track. So you can sit in the stands. On the infield, you can see the field events, and then you have the track around there. So it's a really nice venue. It's world class, and it's right here in our backyard. So, yes. So next, what I would like to do is just pause for a second, just to recognize, because obviously I'm not running it. Y'all can tell looking at me, I'm not running any events, but our athletes are. And so I do want to take a moment to recognize our athletes. And so if we can have all of our athletes that competed last year, please stand. Come on, please stand. All right. Thank you for coming back. All right. Now, if we can have our athletes that competed in the Golf Association, if you can stand. Okay. All right, next. Can you please stand if you competed in the regional championship last year? Good. And from the regional, who competed in the Junior Olympics last year? Okay. All right. Now, it's not on here, but also if you competed in the under 20 World Championships, can you please stand? All right. Over here. All right. And if you was a under 20 world champion, can you please stand? Come on up there. Come on up there. So, as you guys probably saw earlier in the action shot, we had Miss India Alex in her famous pose, long jumping. She's a USA, or no, she's the world under 20 champion in the long jump. So right here with the Flyers, coached by Coach Frank. And so she was here, and then Anya as well competed. India is a senior this year. Anya is a junior this year. She ran in the 200 in her heats. She's the youngest there to compete last year as a sophomore, running against college athletes. So it's under 20. So she's in the heats with people from Notre Dame and Howard and Michigan. I'm like, man. And she's Side Creek, or Northwest Flyers. All right. Bridgeland, excuse me. I don't want to start no fights. But I just wanted them both to just come up for a quick second just to kind of give their experience. Because, again, we talk about it, but love for the athletes to hear from your peers as far as their experience and how the Flyers has helped them.
Hi, I'm India, as you heard from him. Being a part of the Flyers is really an amazing experience. You create new friends, new bonds with different athletes and coaches. I've grown from the Flyers. I've been running with the Flyers since I was 6. Coach Carter was like a mother to me. She took me in, helped me get better. Coach Frank helped me get better at long jump when I found my way. Being a part of the Flyers is just so amazing to me. Like, it feels like home, honestly.
I'm just piggyback off of what you just. Also, I'm low-key sick, so like if you hear a little nasally, I'm just gonna let y'all know. Anyways, piggybacking off what she said, we are really like a family. Like honestly, Coach Frank, my jumps coach, we don't just go to the track and we practice, we work out, and then we go home. After some meets, we go and we eat dinner as a family, as a team. We go and we have Christmas celebrations and other things like that. And all the coaches take you beyond just practice and doing stuff. You learn what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like he said, everything has a purpose and everything has a meaning. He makes you feel wanted and need, and they all do. And that shouldn't go beyond. Last year, I started at a 26 running at 200, y'all. It was a struggle. It felt bad. And I dropped down all the way to a 23.97 in the 200 as a sophomore.
Man, 23.97, my hamstrings are hurting hearing that. Quick story. When I first started coaching, I was assistant coach and helping out. And I recall, I think at the time you were in 11, 12 age group. And I was helping them we were doing some sprints or something. And I remember I would give them a little bit of a head start and then I would go. And if I beat you, you got to keep running. And so every time we did about 6 of them, every time India, she would be running, and she was focused. And everybody else, I could kind of just coast and get them. I had to work to beat her. And, I knew it was something special about her because even in between, she was tired. But when she got back on that line, she got mentally focused and locked in, and she kept going. And so it's great to see where she's at now, and definitely looking forward to next year, her doing the chop at the University of Florida. And so we definitely looking forward for much more success from both of them as well as Anya. Thank you. All right, so as you can see here, once again, we have the regular season, and then we go into our championship rounds, which we just talked about there. And this year, we have the honor of going to University of Oregon, So we're going forward to Hayward. And so that's where the Junior Olympics will be held at this year. So word of advice, if you think you are possibly wanting to go, start looking and getting your tickets now, both for flights and hotels. Real quick story, my first year, my daughter ran with the Flyers. Was her first year. She was 7 years old, never ran in her life. I just had her come out because she said she wanted to run. I didn't think that she was going to, get to the Junior Olympic level in year one. And of course, the coaches are laughing because they know not only did she make it there, she medaled both in the 800 and the 1500 as a 7-year-old, first time ever running. But that was the most expensive trip because we basically bought it within 2 weeks. And so it's very not cost effective to do that. So my word of encouragement to parents, guys, go ahead. Hotels you can reserve typically ahead of time without putting down anything. Go ahead and do that just as a placeholder to see, because you may be surprised. Every year we have an athlete or two that actually surprises everybody and starts to show up and show out once we get to the championship round. So please start thinking about that and start planning for it. Once again, it's a great venue, and it's a track-only venue. So please think about that. Next up, as far as our registration, so we will have our registration open next week. You'll see there February 12th. You'll be able to go online and register. If you're brand new to the Flyers, we are going to have on that Monday, the 13th, is going to be a sizing and sign-up day. So you'll be able to come in, get your athlete size in their uniform to make sure it's correct, and then sign up right there on the spot. The reason we do that, sometimes it's kind of hard to make a selection of a uniform without actually understanding how it fits. Our uniforms are going to be a lot more slim fit. And so, you may think, oh, I want to get a bigger size, but it stretches. So you want to really make sure that the athletes get the right size, because it becomes a logistic nightmare during the season to try to send stuff back and get correct sizes. So we're doing that for new athletes to come out on the 13th and get sized. You'll get more information on the details as far as where to come to get sized for that. Like I said, again, on Sunday, February 12th, we will have registration open. For everyone that's here, you have a little advantage. You're going to get the early bird discount for signing up. And so if you do that on the 12th and you have it done by February 27th, you'll get the early bird discount. Also, too, we have some additional discounts. So if you're active military, there'll be a discount. If they're siblings, there's a discount. I got 4 kids, and I definitely need that discount. And then, if for whatever reason, or maybe, you're coming out to the track club because you want your kid to get a little bit faster for a different sport, and that happens, and that's totally okay. We have what's kind of a vacation discount. So that's someone that's not going to compete in the Golf Association Championship and go all the way to Junior Olympics. They know that, by June, they're going to be switching over to football or basketball or something like that. We have what we call a vacation discount, where after the track Houston meet on June 3rd, you're no longer going to compete competitively, and you're going to go on. So we have a discount for that as well. The cost there is $285. What that includes your uniform, T-shirt, club dues. There is an additional $26 for the USATF registration, which is separate. You'll need to go into USATF and actually register there. We do have a link on our website that shows a video of how to register your athlete. For new athletes, parents, please dig through, find their birth certificates, because they cannot compete if they don't have their birth certificate uploaded. It will not complete their registration. And so what we don't want is you get to the first meet and your child can't run because we don't have that yet. So please make sure that you find that and get that uploaded as well. All that is on the website, USATF website. They have videos and tutorials on how to upload and how to get all that completed. As far as the age brackets, as you can see there, we have 8 and under, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up. Now I know for a lot of parents, they're like, well, my kid is just turning, 6, and they're going to be running against 8-year-olds. Is okay. A lot of these kids, they're coming in at different times. So even though they may be 8, from a development standpoint, they may be at the same level as a 6-year-old, or a 6-year-old may be coming in at the same level as an 8-year-old. It's okay. And ultimately, if they're going to be in this sport for a while, eventually they're going to get to a point where they're going to be competing against everybody. When they get to high school, a freshman can compete against a senior. It doesn't matter. So this is a great, and one of the reasons we like USATF is because of that. It gives these athletes the opportunity to compete against other athletes around, and even if it's a age higher, they're getting that competition and they're learning how to compete. Next is how to get connected. So this year, we're trying to streamline as far as how we're communicating so everybody's on the same page. As far as registering for events, we're going to be doing that through athletic.net. So make sure you check that out, athletic.net. There's also a message. You can communicate on the platform. Can't get the word. On that platform this year as well, so we'll be able to do that. Our website, we did through the off-season upgrade it, so it is faster, 5 times faster. I feel like I'm selling a cell phone right now, 5 times T-Mobile. All right. As far as that, we are coming out with a new uniform for our championship rounds. So last year, we ordered some extra uniforms because of the pandemic. We wanted to try to make sure that we had stuff in. So we have an overabundance of uniforms from last year that we're going to use during the regular season. But when we go into the championship rounds, we're going to don our new uniform. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be posting that out there very soon. We are looking to hear feedback from all of you on the uniform choices that we pick. And like I said, we'll have that ready for the championship round. You also see we have a social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can follow. And if you have different things you want to highlight your kid right now is in middle school or high school and they're running and you want to highlight what they're doing, you got some hashtags there that you could put on those posts. That way we can see that feed and we can cheer as a family your athletes. Okay, so get involved. Earlier I talked about our track meet being one of the best track meets out there, and I'm not just saying that. If you go to these other meets, you'll see and you'll understand why. But it does not happen without all of you. So we need everyone getting involved and helping out, anywhere from just being a team mom. We got our team mom captain over there, Ms. Trelenza in the back. Yay. But, we understand there's some dads that like to be very involved as well. So we have team dads as well, so that you don't feel like you're going to be left out. We had tent parents, social committee. They help with putting on different events, our end of the year celebrations and different things like that. So there's a lot of different things that we try to do and we want to do for our athletes to celebrate them and make them feel appreciated. And so we can't do that without all of you. So we definitely look forward to having you guys do that. We do have some QR codes out in the front. We have some on the table outside, right outside, and then also in the gymnasium with the breakfasts where you can sign up and select what area you want to participate in. We also need some additional coaches, assistant coaches. So like I said, our head coaches are all level 1 certified. They understand how to run practices. They understand how to put together a workout plan and all that. So we don't need you to do that unless you want to help out. But we do need bodies to help us to make sure that every kid is getting that attention that they need to help them develop. So if you have an inkling or you ran before, we more than welcome you to come out and sign up as a coach. So there is a commitment level for the athletes. So again, we want your athletes to have success, and the only way they can do that is by coming to practice. So practicing regularly. That's at least 75% of the time, and we get there, especially right now with school going on. They may be in band or choir and other activities, and so they may not be able to come to every single practice, but they should be trying to come to at least 75% of the practices in order to see that growth and development. Competing as well. We like your athletes to be at the meets as well, so at least 75% of those. Again, we understand different things come up. You may not be able to make all of them, but as many as you can. Also with that, when you can't come to practice or make a meet, we just ask that you reach out to your kid's age coach to let them know. Because if they're on a relay, that does change how we do it. We can't run a relay with 3; we need 4. So please let them know ahead of time if they're not going to come that week, so that we can make those adjustments for relays and different things like that. We need 100% participation once again for our home track meet. It's a very long day. And it's everyone's running around doing things. So, even myself, I'm out there all day long, both sessions, trying to make sure that everything is happening, everybody's getting taken care of, and we need everyone there to help out with that. For our new Flyer athletes that are our prospective athletes coming in, you may wonder, what's the process? Do they have any testing that they need to do or anything like that? We do have a fitness test for athletes that have never run track before. So if you ran track in middle school, or you're running track right now in middle school or high school, or you're coming from a different track club, then you're fine. You don't need to go through that testing. But if this is your first time ever running at all, we do have a fitness test. That basically allows us, once again, as coaches, to be able to assess your child's ability and place them in the right events. Now, just because they may run distance this year doesn't mean that they can't run sprints next year. But we're looking at where they at right now, where they can best have success, and that's what we look for. They may be a good thrower. They may be a good jumper. A lot of our athletes, as they go through the program, start to shift and change their events. Very rare one kid does the same event from start to finish unless they're already in high school. But mostly, if they're younger, as they go through our program, because of the way that we run it, they start to pick up other skills and start doing other events. And so the fitness test allows us to do that. It's based on the President's Council on Fitness. So you can go to the website and check out. But it's basic stuff, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, doing some running, those type of things, just to see where they are. Also, too, if there are any type of health issues, if you can let us know, because what we don't want to do is put a kid in a situation where they may be impacted. So if they have heart issues, something like that, please just come and let the coach know so that they're aware, so we're not over-taxing them on different events and workouts. Let's see. And then as far as that, because I'm between you and a Chick-fil-A breakfast, so I'm going to wrap up here as far as our meet. Next is our meet and greet, but if anyone has any questions, before we break, feel free. We have some mics up here. If somebody can help us with the mics up. Anybody have any questions? No? Oh, one question right there.
Good morning, and great presentation. I really didn't have a question. I really wanted to hear from the Olympian, just from his journey. So if he could just take a little time, if he would grace us to see how he started his track career and ended.
So I'll do that at the end of the Q&As.
Good morning. I have a question about returning athletes that were previously on the team. Is the price for registration the same, or is there a discount for that?
Okay, good question. So the price is the same for returning athletes. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you have the early bird discounts and stuff that you can take advantage of right now. Absolutely. Oh, the question, when is the fitness test? Okay. The fitness tests are going to be administered during the first 2 weeks of practice, because we know during the first 2 weeks we get a lot of influx of new athletes coming in, so we do that during the first 2 weeks. And then anytime after that, if there's a new athlete, we administer that. We like to give them at least the first week to get acclimated with the track before we'll test them. No.
Wanted to see if you could re-announce the Saturdays, what the location would be.
Sure. Yeah, so the Saturday practices will be in the month of March. They'll be at Spring Creek Park, which is right up there off of 249, and the practice will start at 9 a.m. And, you know, as far as location and all that stuff too, if you guys forget, it will be posted on the website as well. So you can go there and definitely get that information.
Good morning. Question I had is, do you have to qualify to make it to Eugene?
Great question. Yes. Do you have to qualify? Yes. So the championship rounds are the qualification rounds to get to the Junior Olympics. So from the association, which is here in Houston, we take typically the top 8 to the next round. From there, I believe we go to the top 5, and then the top 5 go on to the Junior Olympics. And so there's a total of 16 different regions. And so from California all the way over to the East Coast, that'll be competing there. Okay. Yep. How long was the practice sessions? Okay. Yep. So the practice sessions typically are going to go from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., so an hour and a half. We do ask that the athletes show up before that so that they can start warming up and getting ready before practice starts. Okay? And that actually reminds me, thank you for that question. What do you need to bring to practice? Right? So we have a bag here real quick. Our Northwest Flyer bag here. And so we do recommend a towel, especially we all live here in Houston. It starts getting hot around May. But having a towel, sometimes depending on where we're doing our cool downs and stuff like that, the ground may be a little hard or hot. So I recommend bringing a towel each day. Also, as far as the athletes should be wearing, are sneakers, running sneakers. So you can go to any athletic goods store and just look for shoes that say running. That's going to give the best support for their feet. And then also water. Again, as it starts getting warmer out there, the kids start sweating. We want to make sure that they stay hydrated so that we don't have any issues. Early on, you know, maybe a bottle, but definitely as we get into the May time frame, we're recommending 3 to 4 bottles to have with them because we are going to have scheduled breaks in there for water. So we do make sure that they get the water that they need and everything. So please make sure that they are bringing water each day to practice. As far as what do they need for the meets, they'll obviously need their uniforms. They'll need spikes. Like these, if they're going to be running, jumping, anything like that, they'll need spikes that'll look like these here. For the younger kids, we recommend getting more of a multi-event spike. Reason being is going to give a little bit more cushion on the heel there for them, a little bit more support for them running. It helps to minimize those nagging little injuries and different things like that for them. So we definitely recommend those. We do have a relationship with Fleet Feet over in the Vintage. You do get a discount. Just let them know that you're running with the Northwest Flyers Track Club, and you will get a discount for the spikes. But of course, you can go anywhere else, Amazon, anywhere else to get spikes as well. I will say that smaller sizes, so if you got a young athlete wearing a size 3 or smaller, it is very hard. So please go out and look as soon as possible because those sizes are a lot harder to find, especially as we get deeper into the season. Yeah. There.
was
While
not
she's going over there.
prepared to get my own running in
Yeah,
today.
that's right. She's now, if they're going to be looking at throwing, real quick, if they're going to be looking at throwing, we have some implements here. Shot put this year. We can, and throwing coaches can help you on for your child's age and weight and all that, what implements to get. Shot put, discus, and then as far as their shoes that they'll actually need, because they won't be able to use the spikes in the throwing rings, because number one, it'll be very slippery, but it'll be more of like a throwing shoe like this. So if they're younger, and just getting started, you can get away with wearing a sneaker, kind of a more flat sneaker to help out. But as they get up older, the athlete that has this one here, she's a very talented thrower. Her dad is in the back, Coach Troy. He's one of the directors, and she's very talented as a shot put and discus thrower. So, but that's what it will look like if you are looking at doing one of those. Okay.
So my first question is about the hosted event. What is the parent's responsibility for volunteering? And the second question is, if we advance where we have to travel, will there be a group bus or something that we can all travel together?
Mm-hmm. Good question. So the first part of it, I'm sorry, repeat the first part of it again. Volunteer at our meet, host meets, that's right. So volunteering at our meet, responsibilities, and we'll have a sign-up sheet for that when we get closer to that as far as selecting what events that you're going to do. From helping out with just in the hospitality area, getting water, shuttling athletes back and forth, registering athletes for their events. There's going to be a host of different things that we're going to ask parents to do. Now, we realize that our kids are still running in the event, so we do want you to have time to see your child run and compete. So we will have that built in so that you can go off and do that. There are some good volunteer jobs that allow you to be able to work and see your kid at the same time. So just definitely take a look at that when it comes out and see what job you like. We are asking that parents help out both sessions. So even if you have your child that's running in the morning and you're like, hey, well, we're done at 12:30, we still need your help, because in the afternoon, that's where it gets a little bit more challenging. Although they're older kids, there's a lot more of them. And so we do still need parents to help out with shuttling kids around. And then the second part of that, travel for the different rounds. So the first meet or the first championship round is going to be here locally in Houston. Typically, it's going to be at one of our local sites here that we always compete at already. So travel for those, you'll just do that on your own. Get your child there. For the regionals, that rotates between us, San Antonio, Dallas, and then a little further west. And so with that, we'll try to coordinate some travel there. I know in the past we've done a bus. The challenge is, though, while we're there, if you're not going to be there the whole week, then it becomes a little bit of a challenge of how do we maneuver that. So most times parents will just go up. They'll take their athletes up there for their events. We do recommend, especially when we get to the regionals and Junior Olympics, that you get there a little earlier. So if your child is competing on a Tuesday afternoon at noon, not to try to get to Eugene Tuesday morning, because we know the plane may be delayed and different things happen. So we do recommend you at least trying to get in a day before your child actually competes. That way, if there are any delays, it still gives you some time to get in. Okay. Was there something else? Nope. Okay. All right. Got a question over here. Coach Carter didn't know she's going to be working this hard today.
Getting my race walk in.
Is there going to be a race walk coach?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. So that is an area that we do have Coach Rosie that helps out with us from time to time. Coach Paul last year was helping and starting to pick that up. So we are going to reach out to Coach Paul to see if he's going to be able to help us again this year with that. So he did kind of learn. And we also have the other Coach Carter's husband that helped out a little bit as well with race walking. So if you are looking at race walking this year, definitely still come on out. We will make sure that you are that you're taken care of.
Coach Troy,
Yeah.
the track meet formats this year, is it the same post-COVID, 8 and unders to 12-year-olds in the AM, 13 to 18-year-olds in the afternoon, or are we back to the regular schedule?
Right. So as far as in the past, it used to be everyone was together and you ran the whole day. Now we kind of gone more to a young kids in the morning, older kids in the afternoon, just to try to make things go a little bit smoother. Also, too, it doesn't make it a long day for everybody, especially if you got a young kid. Keeping their attention from 7:30 in the morning all the way to 5 o'clock in the afternoon is definitely a task. So we do have it broken up. Typically, the morning is going to be for the young kids, and they're going to finish generally around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So they'll be there from about 7 a.m. to about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And in the afternoon, the kids, their events will start about 2 and go to about maybe 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock at night, depending on the events.
Do they wear their uniforms to practice or just for the meet?
Okay. Yep. Great question. Uniforms. So uniforms, they'll be supplied to you. They'll just be for meets only. Practice, they can wear some running shorts. So I didn't bring that in there. Next time I note to self, bring that. So running shorts, a T-shirt is what they'll wear in practice. And then for the actual meet, they do want to make sure they wear the uniform. Also, too, making sure that they're wearing the right colors. So I know sometimes that the older kids, they may switch out the bottoms because they don't like the way it fit. But if they're going to be on a relay, everyone has to match. So if everybody's wearing black bottoms or one is wearing black bottoms, everybody has to wear black bottoms. So
You mentioned the T-shirt, so it depends on the weather as well for
Right.
practice. I mean, you might want a long sleeve dry fit or something like that.
Exactly.
Maybe some long wind pants. So just depending on the weather.
Exactly. Yeah, especially starting in February, we're going to want to dress a little bit warmer. And then, of course, as we get into our normal Houston weather, dress appropriately.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
If for some reason the child does not pass the fitness test and you paid to get the early bird special, get a refund?
Mm-hmm. So the question is, child does the fitness test doesn't pass? So what happens? Great question. What we try to do is, number one, retest them, right? If they didn't pass because they had to do 15 push-ups and they did 14, we'll look at retesting them. If it's something where it's like, hey, the kid is there, just not maybe quite at the point, we'll still work with them. If they want to be there, we're not going to turn away a kid that wants to be there and run track. So, yeah. Scrimmage, yeah, scrimmage. So that is a part of what we're going to look at doing a scrimmage meet. We always do a internal meet, kind of prepping before our first meet on April 22nd. So that more information to come out on that. That gives our kids an opportunity to kind of get a feel, especially the newer kids, how a meet is ran, kind of how the schedule goes. So we'll definitely have that coming up. And we'll take probably about 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Is there a physical required?
Physical, great question. So currently we don't require the kids as far as having a physical. I would recommend it though, especially if they have some type of health challenge, to make sure that they're okay and cleared to actually compete, because obviously we don't want to put them at risk if they're not.
The sizing and the sign up for the uniforms for new athletes, will it occur here or where will it be?
Yeah, so we're gonna have that in the coming week as far as the location. And the time is going to probably be around 5:30 to about 6:30 where we'll do the sizing. But just keep posted, check our website, check Twitter, and we'll have that information out there for you. All right, so I think
Is that it?
that's it.
So-
We had the one
We're
final.
going to go back to Coach Newhouse. Just the one other thing, we've mentioned volunteering all throughout. There will be several QR codes on some sheets of paper outside. You can scan the QR code and go ahead and get your information in and start volunteering for whatever, whether it's assistant coaching, our practice meet, et cetera. But make sure you scan the QR code.
Yes, and the coaches will be around. I know we have, again, the jumps coaches, the hurdles coach, Coach Haygood, the distance coaches. They'll all be around the back table there, as well as later on they'll be in the gym. If you got other questions that you want to ask, feel free to ask them.